Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Dennis Stone, Director of the Center for Advocacy and Social Justice at the Jacksonville Urban League. And I'm very pleased to have with us tonight our special guest, Dr. Esmin Shakespeare from the Jacksonville Urban League to talk about victim services. But I'm going to turn it over to our other guest, our facilitator, Kendra Mickle from the University of Virginia, who's serving as an intern this summer at the Center for Advocacy and Social Justice. Kendra?
Thank you, Dennis. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Like
Good
Dennis said,
evening.
my name is Kendra, and I'm a social justice intern with the Urban League. Tonight's town hall will focus on the League's Victim of Crime Assistance Services, highlighting the resources and support available to individuals who have experienced crime or trauma, the role these services play in our community, and ways we can all help ensure victims receive the assistance they need. It is now my pleasure to introduce our speaker for this evening, Dr. Esmin Shakespeare. Dr. Shakespeare serves as the program director of the Victims of Crime and Housing Division at the Jacksonville Urban League, where she leads a team dedicated to supporting individuals and families who have experienced crime and trauma. Through her work, she helps connect victims with critical resources, including crisis intervention, housing assistance, employment support, counseling, and other services that help individuals move forward. Dr. Shakespeare brings decades of leadership experience in education, human services, and community advocacy. Throughout her career, she has served as Chief Operations Officer at River Region Human Services, Assistant Professor of Business and Assistant Chair at Edward Waters University, Regional Social Services Director at VestCorps, and the founder and executive leader of several early childhood education organizations. She holds a Doctor of Education degree from Argosy University, a master's degree in accounting from the University of North Florida, and has devoted her career to strengthening communities, expanding opportunities, and serving individuals and families across Northeast Florida. At this time, I'll turn it over to Dr. Shakespeare.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It is a pleasure to be here this evening with you all, and it's always an absolute pleasure to share the work that we do at the Jacksonville Urban League. I'm open for questions. So our mission at the Urban League is to support victims of crime and trauma with compassionate, trauma-informed services. The first thing I want to say about that is when an individual call, many times they're sorrowful, they're in tears. In some instances, they don't. They're just so bottled up with their issues until they could barely speak. And so the first thing I have to do is make them feel comfortable, my team and I, make them feel comfortable and relaxed that we're here to help them. We listen with compassion to their experiences that they're having, and then we move forward into providing information and connecting the services with community resources and advocacy if we have to. In some cases, I had an experience today. We did not have the community resource to provide to her directly from us, but I was able to share with her that I will conduct some research and get back with her on Monday to inform her of my advocacy and my research to assist her and her dad with the services that they need. Now, the question of who is a victim, that could be anyone. When an individual comes into our offices, there's an application that they must complete. And in many cases, the first response that we receive is, well, I don't know anybody who has experienced any of the list of items that is listed here, or I have not experienced it. And in many cases, they are victims of a crime and don't recognize it because it doesn't have to be direct. It could be a neighbor, it could be a friend of a friend, and you are being affected by it. It could be a family member. And the victims may include survivors of domestic violence. They may think that because it hasn't happened recently that they're not a victim, but they may not have ever received any counseling for it. Victims of sexual assault, child abuse and neglect, elder abuse, human trafficking, robbery, assault, violent crimes, as well as their children or adults, as a matter of fact, having stalking experiences. It may be hate crimes. I've had a mother and a son in the office maybe about a week or two ago who's experienced hate crimes because of who he is. Also, identity theft and financial exploitation is one of the most difficult areas that we deal with because the individuals are dealing not only with the pain, but also the financial distress that they have been put into. And now we have to refer them out to organizations who can help them or legal connections so that they can get the help of an attorney. We also had a young man that's being bullied on the job, workplace violence that led to him losing income, which has forced him into foreclosure for his home. Gun violence and the experience that has been the experiences that individual has as a result of the trauma and family members being affected by the crime. I'll talk later about some of the impact of the crime that family members has experienced. We serve everyone. Anyone who walks into our offices and says that I'm a survivor of domestic violence. It may be their children, it may be their family members, it may be somebody who's really close to them as a friend. Sexual assault is a unique service that we refer out to the professionals that have been trained for such experiences, as well as victims of child abuse. We refer them to those organizations that are equipped to help them depending on the type of abuse that the child experiences. Elder abuse is another critical area that we work hand in hand with the state's attorney's office. Some of these types of experiences that the individuals have is above and beyond the specific services that we provide. But part of what we do is connecting our clients that come into our office to the professional services and the professional organizations that will be able to help them. Now, families affected by homicide or gun violence have some special services beyond what we provide in terms of immediate need, ensuring that they have access to the sheriff's office. They have filed a report. If they need to file a restraining order, we guide them through those processes. However, in addition to that, the families of an individual within that have experienced homicide or gun violence can also receive financial compensation. Now, this financial compensation is not just restricted to the parent or the spouse of the individual that have had these experiences. It may be that it will expand to the children of those experiences. And they may need mental health counseling. The families, in many cases, if there is death, there are funeral expenses, and those expenses are covered. There are also loss of income due to the trauma of the experience. Those loss of income are covered. So we will then connect the family members to a comprehensive set of services that has had financial impact to the Victims Compensation Fund and that division to receive the financial services that are needed. And then individuals impacted by financial crimes or other traumatic events, it may be an extended family member, it may be a close friend and neighbor. The only thing that's required is if they have expended costs associated with the effects of the homicide or gun violence, they must then show proof of payment and they will be reimbursed. Other services that we provide are crisis intervention. I just spoke with a few of them, and emotional support. That the emotional support is immediate before we could begin addressing the needs of the individual we see is becoming a listener, finding out why they're here, and then allowing them and helping them to understand that we're not only compassionate, but we're here to listen to them and to help them become comfortable that we are going to help them. Then we move into the crisis intervention portion of the reason that they're there. It may be that as a result of being bullied on the job, that they lost their income. Now they're having experiences of foreclosure, financial experiences, which has led to foreclosure. We also are involved with safety planning and victim advocacy. Safety planning may mean that as a result of the abuse that they experience, that we now need to connect them with a place to stay so that they are removed from the dangers that they have experienced. So then we connect with the city of Jacksonville, we'll connect with the Salvation Army, we'll connect with other resources in the community to help them to get into a place of safety. Court accompaniment is something that we do indirectly. We have a relationship with the state's attorney's office, and they have a more extensive set of resources and experience than we do. So again, we connect with the expertise that's available and ensure that the individual receives what they need in order to achieve the goals that they have. Victims' rights information we provide to them, your rights to immediate care, your rights to financial assistance, your rights to having restitution provided to you. So we educate them of all of their rights. And then, of course, we provide them with additional information and also let them know that they have a right to contact us. And we will continue to assist them as they go along and progress through this process until they receive the healing that they need, as well as the financial assistance to bring them whole again. We provide referrals for counseling, housing, legal assistance, healthcare, employment, and financial resources. We have relationships with adult counseling services, as well as counseling services for children and youth and young people. And we ensure that they not only be provided the information, we connect them with the professional resources and follow up to ensure that they're following through. And if they're having some problems with connecting, then we will intercede on their behalf. Our housing services are pretty extensive. We have individuals who are interested in purchasing a home. They're first-time home buyers. They don't understand the process, so we get them connected with other organizations in the community. And there are at least 3 or 4 major organizations that provide not only financial literacy training, but they also provide housing assistance, and basically providing general information about the process. They connect to resources for financing. They will connect to mortgage brokerage firms, banking relationships, as well as individuals who work for them within their agencies directly. So that's on the purchasing side. We have individuals on the other hand that, as I mentioned before, have gotten a home, but now they're in financial trouble for one reason or another. It could be the fact that they just lost a job. It could be because of harassment on the job and they were forced out. It could be because they experienced crime, and as a result of it, they weren't able to go to work and return to work within the time frame that their employer required it. But bottom line is, they are now in financial distress. I've had one client who had a severe handicap, and her income was decreased, and so she found herself in need of foreclosure help. So then we connect them with the agencies. There are 2 or 3, and let them know what the agency is going to be looking for before they get there, so they'll understand what they need. For example, I review with them their budget. They are going to have to be in a position where they will be able to make the payment once the help is restored. So they may want to look at some of their spending habits, because that is something that they are going to be expecting. If they are in a community that has the community homeowners association, that's another real expense that they have. Are you all there?
Yes, we're here. Your camera turned off, Dr. Shakespeare.
Yeah, I'm trying to reconnect.
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I just, I'm trying to get back to where I was. Okay. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. So we prepare them and let them know that while we're not the funding agency, these are the factors that they're going to be looking for. The one example that I'll give at the appropriate time, I had a very comprehensive client that I had to spend a lot of time with. And then we also let individuals know that are not in trouble with their finances, but they want to purchase a home. For example, there is a first responders grant that's available for $35,000. That's teachers, that's police officers, that's firemen, that's nurses, that's doctors, and there's $35,000 available. And there's no, I wouldn't say that there's no limit, but there's a very generous limit on their income level. They can earn up to $150,000 and be still qualified for the financial help. So And then the assistance with the victim compensation applications for the sources that I just mentioned about 5 or 6 minutes ago. We refer them to the state's attorney's office. All of those services are managed and provided through the state's attorney's office. So we know when and where to direct our clients and first educate them and then direct our clients to the correct organization to provide the help that they need. So when somebody contacts us, as I said before, the first thing we do is listen. You can't help somebody unless you listen to them. And then we reinforce what we think we heard to ensure that what we heard is what they are really saying. And then we assess their immediate safety needs. I had an individual there yesterday, and she asked me a series of questions. One, she wanted to know about whether I knew a bankruptcy attorney. Well, first thing I'm very careful of is to never refer out professional services, because I want to ensure that our agency is not going to be held accountable because I referred them out and now they're coming back to hold us accountable. But as far as their safety needs, we reassure them that within reason and within the purview that you're going to provide whatever resources are being asked for and information, that within reason you should be able to be helped. But that's going to be between you and the funding agency. Then, as I mentioned a moment ago, we help them to develop a personalized plan. The Homeowners Association is a personalized plan. It's part of the personalized plan because it's a financial obligation that they are going to need to have. They are going to also have to pull together all of the financial documentation and the supporting documentation. They're also going to need to look at what their ability to pay will be, so that when they do connect with that funding agency again, that they will be more prepared than not being prepared at all. We connect individuals with resources and continue to support them throughout the recovery. I'll go ahead and I'll share the one experience that was rather extensive. I had a client and we're at the tail end of closing the case. It began 2.5 years. It began a year and a half ago. This individual was involved in an accident and almost cost his life. He hit a car that was on the freeway at full speed, that was broken down on the highway and not moving. So the double impact of the accident, he almost died. Within that, so that caused him to, one, lose his job. Secondly, he was a member of within a community with the homeowners association. He was behind in his homeowners association fees because he was a merchant seaman and now could not go back out to sea. And after the 90-day period, his homeowners association began charging attorney's fees. So his bill went from $3,500 after 90 days to approximately $9,000, $8,851. And it continued to progress. So not only did he have the problem of his mortgage on his home, but now he had a legal problem with his homeowners association fees. And then at the same time, he and his spouse, well, not his spouse, but his significant other, was having a baby, and she had complications and was hospitalized for 3 or 4 months of the time that he was also recuperating from his accident with his therapy and recuperation process. So that was a rather complicated case. So I had to analyze all of the billing for about a year and a half prior to that from the Homeowners Association and write a story of his life and of his plight that he was experiencing at the time. And at the point of that period being completed, that communication, they then made arrangement to stop the foreclosure process. And he had to then find $891 a month for the next 12 months. Missed one payment, regardless of whether he had income, missed one payment, and we're going to foreclose on you. So he had to work that out. Secondly, he had the secondary foreclosure process for his home that we were able, along with the funding agency, to negotiate with his mortgage company to put that on hold for a year while he was paying off the homeowners association. Suffice it to say, he has gotten to the point where his home was put on into the foreclosure process after he paid off the homeowners association a year later. And so we were just able to negotiate for him along with the funding agency for him to receive some reprieve, financial reprieve, and begin a payment plan to have him save his home. So that's a rather complicated case that I have experienced over the last year and a half. He had to go through retraining for his financial planning process. What was he going to do differently? He had to write letters of hardship. He had to then receive a job where for 6 cycles of monthly of payment structures, he had to submit all of his proof of work, which meant that he had to then go into a new career, then learn and go through the training process for a security guard position, which then was not adequate income. So then I had to advise him, now you need to look for a second job that's going to pay a certain amount of money in order to meet the expectation of receiving the funding from the agency. So that was the most complicated and most extensive process that I've gone through with connecting an individual with resources. Part of it was money, but a lot of it was time, rewriting his story, following up with him with his permission, helping to communicate with the homeowners association and then the mortgage company. So that's an example of connecting individuals with resources and continuing to support them through recovery. Our approach to providing trauma-informed and survivor-centered help to our clients, first thing is we assure them of confidentiality and respectfulness. As a matter of fact, it's required by the state's attorney's office in the state of Florida that we provide total and absolute confidentiality on behalf of the clients. We have to protect all applications. We have to protect all communication. And as part of our audit for functioning properly, we have to keep all of their records in a locked file behind a locked door. And so we also assure the client that we will protect their dignity, we will protect their choice, and we will work towards helping them in a hopeful manner to experience the help that they need without them feeling as if they are the blame. A lot of times they're blaming themselves. I had a client that said to me, "Am I pretty? I don't feel pretty. My spouse made me feel as if I was not worthy." I said, "Well, first of all, you are beautiful. You're just in pain." And yes, you are worthy of all of the help. So we have to sit, listen, and provide hope and provide dignity to them before we can get into helping them. That's the approach that we take. Um, Many of the myths that we experience is that we commonly think of someone being a victim primarily for domestic violence. Um, domestic, I mean, becoming a victim is in so many forms. I've had grandparents that took children and grandchildren in because they loved them, and behaviors that occurred with individuals that they were connected to created a feeling of or lack of safety feeling, and so now they had to spend money to put in a security system, and they contacted us. What should we do? Should I call the police? But I don't want to call the police on my grandchild. So that's one example. It could be just leaving a vacuum cleaner in a car and somebody sees the vacuum cleaner thinking that it is functional. They break into your car and now you are experiencing difficulty. Um, Another myth is I have to report the crime to the police before I can get help. That's not true. In many cases, we encourage them to do that. But in the meantime, here you are now, you have school age children. They need to be in a safe place. The shelters that we know require them to be there by noon on the line. So you're not going to have time to make a police report to get your children and yourself off the street. So we recommend to them that they go ahead and get on that line at 12 noon so that it will increase their chances of not being on the streets for that evening. And then first thing the next morning, after you get your child off to school, then go to the police and file a police report if you feel like that is something you should do. Um, so many times we have to help them to navigate that process. Another myth is asking for help is a sign of weakness. Well, the first thing we recommend or we'll say to them, no, asking for help is a sign of strength. When you ask for help, it lets us know that one, you believe in yourself, that you are deserving of the help, and two, that there are individuals out here and organizations like ours that are willing to help you. And also the state at our level, the funding from the state comes from the individuals who created the crime having to pay restitution. That is how we're funded. And in many cases, as depending on what happens within the state or within the nation, as far as funding is concerned, in many cases, our funding is reduced, but there are agencies that we collaborate with in order to still provide the services. So the fact that you're asking for help is definitely a sign of strength, and we encourage that, and we applaud that. How are victim services funded? I just mentioned um, funding comes through the federal crime program from the national level, Victims of Crime Act. Um, so the restitution that's paid by the individuals that commit the crime is paid to the state of, it's actually trickles up to the federal level. The federal level then divides the money amongst the 50 states. Florida, of course, is one of the recipients, and there are many, there are quite a number of VOCA programs in the state of Florida. And so we serve our immediate and surrounding areas, and that is how our funding is received. It is administered by the Office of the Attorney General. We have to be very specific in providing quarterly reports to them on a quarterly basis by category, the number of types of crimes, whether it's a male or a female, what are their ages from 0 to 12, to the other extent of 60 or above. We also have to provide to them their nationality, also the types of services that they need. Are they deaf? Do they have special needs? And also the sex, being male or female, and a few other specific type requirements. But for the most part, that is the type of information that they gather on a quarterly basis, that where they track where the money is going and for what purpose. We also have to provide information on the types of services that we provide, whether it's for information on victims' rights, whether it's for emergency funding, whether it's for childcare, whether it's for transportation. There is a myriad of services, and when I say myriad, at least 20 or 30 services that we administer and help our clients to navigate. Counseling, individual counseling, group counseling, family counseling. It could be any number of the services, and it doesn't just have to be one. It may be a family that needs housing, that needs childcare help, that needs transportation, and that may just need a voucher for gas in order for them to access the help that they need. So that's what the funds are used for. And also, we continue to seek public and private funding to sustain our services. We are constantly writing grants in hopes of receiving additional services so that we can provide the help that they need. Why funding matters? Well, it goes without saying, without money and without the dollars, the services to the individual who need it the most really perish. While we would like to be a good Samaritan, it does take money in order for us to provide services. Now, in some cases, especially in the case of the Urban League, we are focused and focused enough where if we only have money for staffing, then we hire the type of staff that understands how to go out and negotiate as well as collaborate through memorandums of understanding to become a part of their funding process and to work hand in hand with providing the services that are needed. And one of the funding requirements actually by the funders is that we have proven record of collaborating with other agencies so that they can reach as many people as possible. So that's why funding matters. The reduction of federal allocations, and so we work with community partnerships in order to increase our ability to provide the services that are needed, and that is what we have done very successfully at the Urban League. How you can help. You can visit our website, Victim Resources, Helping Families Initiative, community programs, contact information. You can receive that off of our website. You can call us directly and say, I want to learn more about the Urban League. I've had quite a number of individuals to walk in, and we educate them on what we do. And if they want to volunteer, there's one requirement and component that we have to be very careful about, that we can have 1 or 2 volunteers within the quarter. We have to protect, of course, the clients, but we do embrace that because that's one of the requirements. We teach them about the services that we provide, how we connect. For example, we have a lot of community fairs. So if they would like to volunteer, then they can go with us, help us to disseminate information where they're not communicating directly with the client, but they're helping us to garner information and literature and contacts on how then we can go out and negotiate the collaborative relationships. We also share resources with friends, neighbors, and family, as we're doing with you all through this town hall. I mean, it's amazing how so many people are not aware until we begin sharing amongst our friends, family, and neighbors. We also teach and speak to the individuals that are within our sphere of influence, that we need to support our survivors without judgment, because we never know when it might be us. And then we seek partnership we encourage partnership with the Jacksonville Urban League to strengthen our community. And we welcome that. So some of the times is spent with the staff actually educating, and it's not just myself. I've got a strong staff where I don't have to be present, but they know exactly how and what to share with the public in terms of how they can help. And just before I get into questions and discussion, I want to thank you all for having the interest in finding out about our Victims of Crime program and about the Jacksonville Urban League. And I'm now open for questions and discussion.
Thank you, Dr. Shakespeare. That was incredibly informative, and I hope anyone who watches this finds it just as valuable as I did. I'd now like to ask you a few questions to just expand on some of the topics you covered. So my first question for you is, many victims never seek help after experiencing a crime. Why do you think that is? And what would you say to someone who is hesitant to reach out?
Well, in many cases, first of all, when suffering is taking place, you first go through a withdrawal process of experiencing the suffering and the pain. And then secondly, there is a sense of blaming yourself or oneself. I deserve the suffering. I am punished. I'm being punished because I caused the suffering. And if you're not connected to somebody, could be a friend, could be a family member, to encourage you to seek help, it's very easy to withdraw into that mode of blaming oneself and not seeking the help that you need. Was there a second part to that question? I think you did. You had a second part to that question.
Yes. So the first part was, why do you think victims never seek help? And the second part is, what would you say to someone who is hesitant to reach out?
Well, the first thing that I would say is there is so much help out here for you, and we as an organization at the Urban League, we're excited to help you. Also, that there are many other organizations in the community that are willing to help you. Um, and let me share some of them with you. Have them talk to me and tell me what their needs are, and they're in many cases very shocked at the extensive, comprehensive set of services that are needed, that are available and can be provided. For example, I've had a young man just recently who came in who lost his job. Young professional, lost his job, and so now he was being evicted. So when he came in looking for help for money to pay his rent. Then I asked him, what does he do? And he said he specialized in fraud prevention within banks. I said, do you have a resume? So while he came for money to prevent eviction, which I shared with him the process, it then took me into, let me see your resume. I was totally impressed. And in looking at his resume, I found out, Dennis, that he was a former member of the Young Professionals. I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me that? He says, I wasn't thinking about that. So this is navigating information. I said, well, since you were a member of the Young Professionals of the Jacksonville Urban League, our board president is a senior VP at a bank, and you've got extensive experience at banks and criminal fraud, as well as the big four accounting firms, Ernst& Young, Deloitte Touche. I said, you are very marketable. So I talked to him about that. I told him I would have to get permission from the individual I was referring to before I submit his resume. But then I said, are you just interested in a career position? Or are you interested, which may take a while, or are you interested in an immediate position that will pay you adequate money, but it's not in as professional an arena? He says, I'm interested in earning money for rent. So I was able to call my goddaughter, who's been a 33-year professional in leasing apartments, and where she shared with me that an individual can earn between $20 and $25 an hour. I said, well, that's $800 to $1,000 a week. I said that can help him out in the interim while he's looking longer term for a professional position. So when they come in, they're talking about immediate needs, but then, and also in order to help them with their long-term needs, then we need to address it. And then I looked at his resume and I said, I need to streamline this resume because it's too wordy and it may not make it beyond the initial screening process. So that was one example.
Great. I think we have time for about two more questions. So my next question for you is, what advice would you give to friends or family members who want to support a loved one who has experienced a crime?
The first advice I would give them is having compassion and and giving them time. And when I say time, I don't mean a long period of time. It may be a couple of days, to allow them to gather themselves and their feelings, and help to keep them in a safe space. And then as they begin to thaw out from the experience, then start talking to them about what their needs are, what their rights are, what direction do you want to take. I'm here to support you, and then begin listening to them and then guide them through the process. For example, the one individual had experienced credit theft, where their credit card was used or their social security was used, and somebody bought mattresses and it affected their credit adversely. And once they got out of their somber state, I said, well, I know an agency that can help you get some direction on how to proceed to have that taken care of. So again, it's listening to them and then giving them guidance and then taking them beyond that. And once you get that solved, then you can work towards building your credit again, restoring it, and then let me introduce you to how you can purchase a home with the down payment assistance, giving them some hope.
Awesome. That sounds like great advice. Okay, and I think, yes, my last question for you. If everyone watching tonight could do just one thing to better support crime victims in our community, what would you recommend?
One thing that they can do is, well, there are a couple of things, but they can give donations to agencies that are providing services. It may be an organization that may want to sponsor bus tokens, transportation. That's a very basic need that's needed. So funding can help very basic needs. I had an individual, well, it's several of them, but this particular individual was 9 months pregnant. She was having a difficult pregnancy. She had a car, fortunately, but she had no gas. And she had no food, and she needed clothes because they were sleeping in a park. So with funding, with a simple $25 voucher or $50 voucher, we were able to give that to her. She got some immediate gas money to put some gas in her car to then drive across town to Walmart that had a gas station and a grocery store where she could get food for her and her son, who was 9 years old. She could buy some clothing. She can put some gas in her car, and then she had the ability to connect to the other resources that we provided for her.
Great. I think that was my last question for you. So, as we wrap up tonight's town hall, I'd like to sincerely thank everyone who will watch this town hall. We appreciate you taking the time to be a part of this important conversation and to learn more about the resources and services available to victims of crime in our community. I'd also like to extend a special thank you to Dr. Esmin Shakespeare for speaking with us tonight and for the important work she and her team do every day to support victims of crime. Thank you all again for joining us this evening. And at this time, I'll turn it back over to Dennis for a few final closing remarks. Dennis, you're muted.
Thank you. Sorry about that. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Shakespeare for all the work she's done in victim services and the other activities at the Urban League. And I want to thank you, Kendra, for being our intern this summer and the work that you've done and for organizing this meeting today. I know I learned a lot. I always learn a lot more from Dr. Shakespeare in these sessions. And we're very grateful for your presence. And we want to wish you the best of luck in your academic and post-academic career. And with that, on behalf of the Urban League, thank the both of you and our audience, both current and on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And with that, I'll say goodnight and thank you very much.
You're welcome.